What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I originally wasn't sure if I should bring it up, but it would be wrong if I didn't. Today is the first anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings, and first of all, I just want to say last year when we sold the T-shirts, or I sold the T-shirts for the One Fund to raise funds for the One Fund. Y'all were great. Raised a couple $100. You guys were amazing, and just the Twitter and YouTube comments after the bombing were a tremendous uplift to myself because I was going through a lot with it, not physically but emotionally. And I'll talk about that in a second. And just offer my thoughts on how echoing what ESPN did about how sports was a great way to heal and bring the city together. So I'm sitting in class here in Florida. It's in the afternoon, Monday afternoon during the marathon, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, which is a great way to be successful in academia. But I read there was an explosion at the marathon, and I also read that the JFK Library, which is like a mile from my house, caught fire. So originally when it became apparent that it was a bombing, it was thought at first they were linked. They were, it was just an electrical fire at JFK. But I sat there. There's 45 minutes left in class. I just sat there and stared off into space for 45 minutes. Knowing, why would something explode at the marathon? They didn't know if it was like an internal thing or if it was a terrorist attack. Nothing prepares you for that. That was your, where were you when the world stopped turning moment. Come back to my room, put it on TV, and lo and behold, Boylston Street, Prudential, that whole area that anyone that knows me will tell you that is one of my favorite places on the face of the planet. I love Boylston Street. I love walking down Newbury Street. I love the Prudential Mall. That's just I think some of the best, shopping or just being, taking it in the world. And I've been to some pretty cool places. And, it hit me like a sack of, I was in tears almost right away. And, there were 3 dead there. And that was awful. And the horrific life-altering injuries. My first thought was one of my high school teachers, Thomas Marr, worked the finish line. And, you're thinking about him, thinking about friends and family that could be there. And, it's not, you're not, you're just a wreck. I called my mom, once. That night, my father called me, and he knew there was something wrong with my voice. And he said, we're going to get these guys, right? Because that's what I was worried about. Because that first night I cried a lot. Because you don't know what's going to happen next. Are they going to plan more attacks? Are they going to be, more crude? Are they, what's going to happen next? And, that's what had me awake. And my dad said, we're going to get these effing assholes. Like, all right. So that was Monday night. Thursday night, the guys are still in the loose. They released the pictures, but what am I gonna do? I'm 1,200 miles away. I went out with one of my buddies, and I passed out early that night. I wake up at 7 a.m. on Friday morning, and I got like 10 missed texts from my mom from like 1 a.m. onward. And I couldn't figure. She was talking about like the fights and stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? Turn on the TV, and it's like, oh. There's a massive firefight in Watertown. One of them's dead. The other's on the lam. And then, they locked down the city. It's like that Bruce Willis, Denzel Washington movie. And so all day, I'm tuned in on the news, what's going to happen next. I end up going to the gym. I'm on the treadmill when it breaks. There were shots fired in Watertown. That, he's on a boat. T-Pain style. And I ran back to my room. I watched it on TV. And, they pulled him out of the boat. He's got the, looking like a real piece of, for lack of a better word. And that's exactly what he is. And I'll never forget coming in. My dad called me right after they captured him. And, for Stanley Cups, World Series, Super Bowls, all the times I got to give my dad a hug, be proud from Boston. That was over the phone, 12 miles apart. That was, like nothing ever had before. But, there's no prouder moment for me than when the people on Boylston Street were celebrating and hugging state police officers and BPD, the federal agents. It was really a proud moment to be be an American and be from Boston. And then you look back that Wednesday night when the Bruins played the Sabres, and the crowd sang the national anthem for Rancourt. You just can't put that into words. This is a strong, powerful message that sports brings people together in ways that you really can't describe. That you don't need to have superfluous adjectives to describe. People coming together, true for a team, but also for a city. More importantly, and that Saturday afternoon, the Red Sox were playing. Big Papi, God bless him, just said what everyone else was thinking. This is our effing city, and it's like, wow. He said that live on national TV, and that echoed the sentiments of people all over New England who, and the Boston Strong became a mantra for not just for sports teams or anything, but just because, the physical damage was awful, but the blow to the psyche of, why is it happening to us is what was most damaging. And for the city to rise up from the ashes and say, this is, no one's going to tell us how we're going to live or, the terms of our lives, that was special. And the Bruins had an amazing run to the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost fair and square to a great Chicago Blackhawks team, and we all know what happened with the Red Sox. They, a team that was hated by everyone in Boston going into the season after the way the 2011 and 2012 seasons had gone, and they won the whole damn thing. Ortiz has that big grand slam against the Detroit Tigers. Just amazing series against the St. Louis Cardinals, and to win the World Series and win it at home, 6 months after the city's darkest hour. I mean, you can't. Right? I mean, not that the world, going to the Stanley Cup Finals or winning the World Series makes up for the damage. It doesn't, but you see how those teams helped rally the city. It was galvanizing, and the Red Sox parade when they put the World Series trophy on the finish line of the marathon. That was powerful. That was really powerful stuff, and that I think anyone, regardless if you're a Red Sox fan or not, could appreciate. And you look back on how scary it was a year ago, and thinking everything you knew in life was threatened. And a year later, the cities come together, and it's about life more than anything else, more than it is about sports, more than it is about being afraid to enjoy your life and be proud of where you come from, because there was no prouder moments for me than when being a Bostonian, being a kid from the 02127 to watch the city I grew up in, the city that helped shape who I am, rise from the darkness. And I think that when the eyes of the world were on Boston, the performance the city put in was amazing. And Stephen Colbert had the good point. This is where people got drunk and decided to have a revolution that led to the freedom in the United States. Nobody messes with Boston, and that sends a message around the world that we're a resilient city, and we're going to stand together as one no matter what. And it unfortunately takes tragedies for that to happen. But remember, about 6 months after the bombings, they had a Boston Strong concert at the Garden. Aerosmith was playing, Jason Aldean, Jimmy Buffett, James Taylor, Jay Giles. I mean, the lineup was awesome. I went over, and the amount of people that were crying was, they were in tears. Just with this symbol of unity. And I got one last story. About 10 days after the bombing, I came back from Florida for the summer, and I had to go downtown to see where the bombings happened, and I broke down in tears. And there was an older couple there, man and his wife, and they were crying too. And the guy put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Kid, it's gonna be okay." And I'll never forget giving him and his wife just two big hugs, and we're all standing there crying, just complete strangers. And for that to happen, again, it takes the most horrific of circumstances, but you see the goodness in people. And that was one thing the last year taught me, is that for every act of kindness, for every act of brutality, there's 100 acts of kindness, and it's powerful stuff. And when you figure that out, life's a little bit easier, and the tough pills to swallow become a little bit easier, and the darkest days become a little bit brighter. Anyway, that's the non-hockey part of the power play for today. I promise my next pieces will be more jovial and upbeat. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the season, the playoffs, and beyond. Later, guys.